You've probably noticed that you have a greater capacity to handle things, to process things than you used to. We're in a rapidly evolving time as we're shifting into higher and higher frequencies on this planet. And the old version of you, you may not even recognize anymore. If you're like me and you associate or remember or have feelings or intuitions that you've had a long soul journey, some people call it past lives, could be considered simultaneous timelines or various dimensional experiences. There is an integration happening on all levels of the soul. And for those of us who consider ourselves light workers, could use any other phrase that fits best, we've had a long, arduous shadow journey on this timeline, this planet, in the 3D, and you've done the work. So you get to be proud of yourself. And of course, the work is never done, but we've reached a point where we don't have to focus on all the heaviness anymore. The heaviness isn't dragging us around as much as it used to, at least. And we've laid the groundwork for what is to come in such a way that it doesn't take as long to recover from upsets. We're able to process things more quickly, integrate things more quickly, consciously or unconsciously. And I get to see this with the clients I work with as well and have these reflections, because what I'm experiencing and seeing is that we have done all the foundational work on this timeline or this lifetime. And we are reaching a place where we are now evolving into integrating on the multidimensional level. So the way that I look at that is consciously or unconsciously remembering that my soul has had a very long journey. And the stories don't matter so much, actually. You know, I could, and I have done many past life regressions, and it's fun to go into those stories, of course. But we also don't even need to get stuck in those stories, just like getting stuck in shadow work and becoming so addicted to shadow work, right? We aren't there anymore. We actually get to evolve ourselves out of this thinking that we have to continually do work on ourselves and more plant medicine to integrate this and integrate that. And yeah, okay, well, maybe that's just another construct. Maybe that's just another trap, limitation, blockage, right? That because we're in a place where it's actually very fast. It's very quick to shift into another frequency and just be there. And it's amazing because that's not to bypass the aspects that are still unintegrated or that deserve attention and acknowledgement. But we are at that place now collectively where we can instantaneously shift our energy field and resonate with a higher frequency. And the body is still the portal. I've talked about this before in somatic work, that the body really is the portal to transmuting energies, to alchemizing from the heaviness from the 3D to the 5D, for lack of better words. And I'm also seeing how now we're at a place where people are integrating more of their soul lives, their previous soul lives, or the soul lives that are happening simultaneously, because if no time exists, it's not really past, right? It's all happening now. That's the way I look at it. And they're actually remembering having parts of themselves come back online, or I should say they've always been there and they're always there, but actually remembering like, oh, I have a masculine part of me. I have a feminine part of me that really deserves and has been asking for presence and visibility in my awareness. And I get to honor that in whatever ways that comes through. Maybe it's creatively, artistically, maybe it's, I don't know, something sexually that comes through. And that can show up in so many different ways. Or maybe it's a timeline where you're remembering that you were a sacred sexual healer, and that is wanting to come through and be expressed. Maybe you're remembering a warrior aspect of yourself that wants to come through and be expressed in a healthy way, in a way that is like bridging the gap between how that warrior would have shown up and presented itself in the 17th century versus now. And like actually bridging those gaps, those timelines, the dimensional timelines into the now moment in the body. Wow, talk about powerful, right? So I'm experiencing some of the most incredibly powerful healing sessions with clients I've ever seen, because people are waking up so much to their multidimensional selves. And that might not be totally visible to you right now. You might not notice past lives, so to speak. You might just notice that things are speeding up in ways that feel easeful, more easeful. That you're having clarity and insights like you've never had before. You might notice that things just are running a lot more smoothly than you expected. You might notice that there are a lot more synchronicity showing up. You might notice that you're telepathically tuning in to people. You didn't realize you had that gift before. So these kind of gifts are showing up as well, because we really are infinite beings. And all of us have the ability to tune into telepathy, to tune into clairvoyance, to tune into, there's to become an eagle in the sky and have the eagle eye view, to remote view, if anyone's ever heard of that. So just want to encourage you to give yourself the validation that perhaps you, as the previous version of you might have been seeking from outside of yourself, to now give yourself that validation, because that's really empowering. And that's the deepest form, for a lot of people, that's the deepest form of self-love that exists. And that's what's helped me integrate so much is, oh, I've been expending my energy waiting for other people to see me, to really see me, on all these levels, and to validate me. But of course, a person can only meet another person as far as they've met themselves. And let's be honest, a lot of people haven't met themselves very deeply. But I have a feeling if you're watching this and it's resonating, then you know what I'm talking about. Then you've gone down the hard roads to really integrate some of those shadow aspects. And now we are evolved. We, of course, are always arriving at our evolutionary path. But we have arrived at a place that we can be proud of, that we can pat ourselves in the back and validate and go, yeah, you did this. You did this. And you might not have had any support, any validation. You might not have been seen in your path and what you've done. But you arrived here now, and you are much more empowered, and you are making much wiser decisions than the previous version of you. So take a moment to really feel that, to really acknowledge that inside of yourself, and to know that you're not alone. So many of my clients, actually all of my clients, they want a space to connect and interact and date other people who are awake, who are waking up, who are integrating, who are aware of this multidimensional field that we're playing in, right? You're not alone. whatever you want to call it, the words, maybe they don't totally resonate for you. You can place your own words there. Description is limited in our language, with language. I just want you to know that you get to be supported on this path. And integrating on the soul level is exponentially more powerful than what we've done just on the 3D. Of course, there's no comparing the two. It's all powerful. It's all effective. And continuing to remember to anchor it in the body, that is the bridge. And with that, anything is possible.